Welcome to the Winning Edge Investments Podcast. Winning Edge Investments provides industry-leading horse racing and sports betting tips, ratings and education, enabling you to invest intelligently and treat your betting like a business. Go to www.winningedgeinvestments.com to learn more about how you can start to supercharge your betting bank immediately. Treat your betting like a business and invest intelligently with Winning Edge Investments.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. We are live at the Ingles Complex here at Riverside at Warwick Farm as we get set for the Easter sales. It hasn't stopped raining since I arrived here about 7:30, and it's raining throughout Sydney, especially at Randwick today. So from Winning Edge Investment, start betting like a professional. Let's welcome in our great mate, Dean Evans. Dino, hello to you. I think we know one thing for sure. We'll be working on a heavy track there tomorrow.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's quite astonishing how it always seems to happen on this day. You know, we had nothing but good tracks, which isn't quite unusual for a lot of the racing so far. In the autumn in Sydney. It's been just good track after good track after good track, and for some reason this meeting just can never get a good track. It gets to this day and it starts to really dump down. So it's happened again this week, and hopefully we go ahead.
Let's have a look at the Group 1s. We'll kick off for the 2-year-olds English size. You've got Stormboy at $2.60. Coleman has had some good backing at $7.50. Traffic Warden at $8. And then Lady of Camelot at $4, Manal at $7.50 with Bet365. How do you read this year's size?
Yeah, look, 8 winners of the last 12 years have come out of the Golden Slipper at their last start. All 12 ran over 1,200 metres last start. Anything that runs over 1,400 metres actually usually doesn't win this race. So also sort of come out of that fast produce type form and those sorts of things usually don't perform up to the level. The other really interesting stat about this race, which is very rare, is on-pace horses have not won in the last 12 years. In fact, nothing that's settled in the first 5 has won in the last 12 years, which sort of shows over the 1,400 for the first time for a lot of these horses, the young 2-year-olds, and usually being on a wet track as well. They struggle to be on pace, and that makes it really interesting when you've got the likes of, Anode and Stormboy and Lady of Camelot, 2 of the favourites, who are likely to be in the first 3 in running. I sort of, we obviously like Lady of Camelot for the Golden Slipper, and she was a good winner for us, but she's never given me the impression that she was a really strong 1,400-metre horse, and they're almost going to need to be able to run a mile if they're running 1,400 on a really bold track here. And Stormboy, he's just had such a long prep now. He's sort of coming into his 6th start. He hasn't had a break. I just think they're a bit under the odds, those 2. So I thought Manal just made up a stack of ground and the Golden Slipper flew home for 5th. Those horses that really get back and charge home in the slip have a really good record in this race. She ran a clear best late sectionals of the race, and I think Manal's a really good, strong chance. I thought Fearless is a horse that's actually been targeted for this race from the start of the prep. Hit the line really strongly for 6, beating 2 lengths in the Blue Diamond and drew right out wide. That was actually a really big run, and then just won a Newcastle Maiden in pretty good time last time just to get ready for this. I thought Fearless could be the knockout, and the Absolute Bolter, who I think reminds me a little bit of Militarized last year, the horse called Juvana, who I know they do have a good rap on this horse. And I just think a wet track 1,400, I think it's going to be even better over a mile again, Juvana. But I just feel like there's going to be a tougher race, a very, very different race to the Slippers and the Blue Diamonds that the horse have been running in. And I'm wanting something that's going to be really, really strong at the end. And so, quite like Manal, but I think even backing horses like Fearless and Juvana at huge odds is a good play for this race.
So just quickly, horses in the top 5, they haven't won since when? Who settle in the top 5?
Well, in the last 12 years, nothing's won that settled in the first 5 and running.
That's unbelievable.
Most big races, that's simply not the case. On paces win the vast majority of races. Yeah. But it just shows that these horses, they're coming in from 1,000-metre and 1,200-metre runs, so go to 1,400 on a wet track, and it's just very hard. So I have to be against Stormboy and Lady of Camelot on that.
That's one hell of a stat, that. Randwick at, we love the famous mile races and the Doncaster Mile. This is one of the better Doncaster Miles I've seen for quite some time. Bet365 has Think About It at $19. Aubameyang Buramai at $9.50. You got Militarise at $8.50. Sugotcha at $8. Kovalika at $19. Detonator Jack at $16. Then we go down to horses like Lady Laguna at $10. She's been well supported. Democracy Manifest at $23. Linda Man at $17. Another Will has been a little easy at $3.80. Celestial Legend at $7.50. And the other 3-year-old Southport Tycoon at $17. Nuggets at $34. And there's been a bit of tip around for Hinge if she gains a start. She's at $71 here, Dino.
Yeah, certainly an open Doncaster. 10 of the last 12 years, the winners either been third up or fourth up. All 12 winners have been off for either a 2-week or a 3-week break. Probably the most interesting thing out of this race is it's always a good form horses race. The last 12 winners have all finished first to fourth at their last start, and 10 of the 12 finished in the first 5 of their second and third last start. So it's just one of those races with the big field where you really need a form horse to win it. There's plenty of speed here. Fearsome, the Dracula and Lindemann and Golden Mile pushing forward. Another Williams we've got sure likely handy. Look, I know another Will is that sort of hype horse with lots of ability, but he's had soft leads his past 2 starts. You know, it's always a big jump to Group 1 level. He's obviously got the low weight, but he's on a Randwick bog here, a lot more speed. He's lightly raced and still a bit inexperienced, and you know, just have to bet around him at that sort of price. I thought Militarise, he's not well weighted at all, but he just ran the best late closing sectionals in the George Rider on his third last start. His 2 career best performances, I think, were as a 2-year-old at Randwick on wet tracks. I think Zach Purton can alleviate some of that additional weight. I think there's a lot to like about Militarise. I think Zugotcha won the Flight Stakes over a mile at Randwick by 2 lengths on a wet track. It was only been about 4 lengths on the race last year and had to do a lot of work early to get outside the leader. So I thought she can really improve here, and obviously is going better this year, having won the Cornwall Classic last start. And Kovalika was another that I thought, has only beaten ahead in the Epsom in the spring, has been set for this, handles the wet. The Queensland Derby winners with a strong mile on a wet track's a good chance. And Pericles has actually been racing really well this prep, hasn't done much wrong. I think handles the wet okay and a strong mile, so it's certainly an open Doncaster. But I have to be betting around the likes of another Will certainly as favourite. And, I respect the Japanese horse, but your first up over a mile on a bog heavy again is tough. Celestial Legend off a 4-week break on a bog is tough. So I just think it's an open Doncaster, you're getting some pretty big odds about horses like, Militarise, Zugotcha, Kovalika and Pericles.
All right then, mate. We'll jot those horses down, and then we'll go back to the TJ Smith, which is race 7. I Wish I Win first up on a bog track at $3.80 with Bet365. I don't think Private Eye will start after listening to Joe Pry, but he's around $23. Marsu's at $19. Af Cabin's had support into $17. Johnny Rocker's had support $19, and Peritrees is the favourite at $3.40. Bella Nipotina $12, Espiona $18. Sunshine in Paris $8. And then the Newmarket Champ Cylinder at $34, Magic Time at $16, and Chain of Lightning's had good support at a big price at $23 here, Dino.
Yeah, I think the most interesting stat about this race at TJ Smith, we've spoken about it before, but 11 of the 12 winners have been either third up or fourth up. That really tough 1200, again, usually on a wet track at Randwick. Is really tough for those horses that are sort of first or second up. And that includes the Everest as well, which is the other major 1,200 metre race there. I think from 19 runners, 17 winners have been, 19 races, 17 winners have been third or fourth up, and a couple have managed it second up. But I usually in these races just put a pen through anything that's first or second up because I think it's too tough, and particularly on a wet track. So I Wish I Win is one I have to put a pen through. And the likes of Marzu, Sunshine in Paris, and Magic Time are all, reasonably in the market. I have to put a pen through as well. I think the one that stands out for me is Bella Nipotina. I think if they run, I think it's probably the bet of the day. She just grows a leg in the wet. Last time she had those conditions, she won the Manikato by 5 lengths. She's just been all around in Group 1 sprints for, the last sort of 3 or 4 years, running close placings on rock hard, firm tracks. But the reality is that she's, a supreme wet tracker. And so I'm very, very keen on her. On the bog track. I think she'll be extremely hard to beat. I do think there's value in the race. I have to bet around Imperatrice and I Wish I Win. And so I think sort of even Af Cabin, Espiona and Cylinder all profile really well as the type of horses, fit in good form, and they like sort of the Randwick 1200 in the wet as chances again at big odds, but very keen on Bella and Nicotina.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think she's a great chance if the races do go ahead. And then we go to the Derby, which is race 9. Riff Rock at $3.10. Tom Kitten out to $8. Sea Wolf's had good supporting to $8.50. Cap Foray at $19, along with Gambaray at $19. Immediate C at $14. Y Mark at $9 on the quick backup. And then we go down to the filly Sardozi at $3.60. And she's fighting strongly now for favouritism. Your thoughts there?
Well, I have to thank you. I think I chatted with you a couple of weeks ago, and you sort of gave the heads up that maybe the Zardos would be going to the Derby, and we took sort of $9-10 about her, and she's obviously in a lot sharper now, sort of into $3 or $4. She bowled in to win the VRC Oaks last prep. She had better figures than Riff Rocket's Derby win. Bowled in to win the Fire Lap 2 starts ago. Really good third to Orchestral last start off a quick backup, which is a very, very good profile for this race, and has proven so for a long time. I think she's very good, Zardoza. The only thing that stands out to me with a real concern is she's raced at Randwick 3 times and absolutely tailed off at every start. So, I think if she's fine, she probably either wins or tails off if there's something about Randwick that she really hates. The other two that I thought were value, Weimar just keeps winning. He fits the right profile of a Derby winner coming off a Tulloch Stakes win. He did the quick back up here on the wet track. So I have to give Weimar a good chance. And I thought Gunbear again, he ran third in the Spring Champion last prep, seeing a really strong tempo. He just sort of is going to make this a real tough testing 2400. We have seen it at Randwick over the last few years that when it gets really wet, sometimes the leaders have an absolute field day. And so, Gunbear's the other one that I thought has some value. I just think Riff Rock got a really tough 2400 metres on a bog track. Might see him out, and Tom Kitten was just a bit too disappointing last time for me.
All right, Dino, can't wait for tomorrow if it goes ahead. We'll cross our fingers and toes. And it's day one of the championships. And for the SEN listeners, go to Winning Edge Investments, type in SEN, and you get a 25% lifetime discount, which is the best investment you can do all weekend.
Yeah, thanks very much, Gareth. And look, this is the championships time, 10 Group 1s over the next 3 weeks. So very excited to get stuck into it.
All right, mate. You go and get them. Thanks for that, brother.
Thanks, Gareth. Cheers, mate.
At Winning Edge Investments, our team of highly skilled expert analysts and full-time professional punters review the data, crunch the figures, assess the best betting opportunities, and deliver them to your phone via our app and your email inbox in real time so you profit. Go to www.winningedgeinvestments.com, look at our membership options, make your choice, and enter the promo code PODCAST to receive a special 25% discount on your first membership just for listening. That's PODCAST in capital letters for a 25% ongoing discount on your first membership. Treat your betting like a business and invest intelligently with Winning Edge Investments.